Good morning, dear girls. Now let us see the next type of constructor, that is copy constructor, and it is a parameterized constructor using which one object can be copied to another object. So the syntax is class name object1 of parameter, and object1 can be copied to object2. That is what object2 equal to object1 means. Object1 is copying to object2. Okay, so example number object1 of 10, 20, and this object1 will be copying to object2, and this object2 should be declared using the class name number. Okay, so number object2 equal to object1. That means object1 is the object which is having two arguments, that is copying to object2. So this is the concept of copy constructor. Now let us see the features of copy constructor. So copy constructor is a parameterized constructor, so using which one object can be copied to another object. In the syntax you have seen that one object can be copied to another object. Then copy constructor is not invoked by explicitly. That is, in parameterized constructor you have seen explicit call. So using the explicit call method we cannot call the copy constructor. Then the third point, this is invoked automatically when a new object is created and equated to an already existing object. That is, using the class name sum we are creating object 1. Okay, then again using the class name sum we are creating another object named as object 2. Then we are assigning object 1 to that object 2. That is what it is invoked when a new object is created. See, object 2 is a new object is created and equated to an already existing object. So equal to object 1. Object 1 means it's already existing object. So in this case also copy constructor will be executed. Then it is invoked automatically when a new object is created and existing object is passed as parameter argument. That is, see, using class name sum, object 1 is created by passing two arguments. That is, this copy constructor also a parameterized constructor. That is why we can pass the arguments using the object. So sum object 1 of 10, 20. Now this object 1 we are passing as an argument in object 2. See, class name object 2 of object 1. That is what when a new object is created and existing object is passed as parameter argument. So in this case also copy constructor will be executed. Then the fifth point, it is invoked when an object returns a value. So after a calculation, if you are using return statement to return the value, there also copy constructor will be called. So these are the features of copy constructor. Now let us see an example program to find the factorial of a number using copy constructor. So you have to include all the header files. Then we have to declare the class. Using the data type class, we are declaring a class name as fact. Open flower bracket, in the private declaration int f, n, I. So f is the variable to store the factorial value and n is the input value, that means which numbers factorial we are going to find, and I is the incrementing variable. So here you see, suppose n is equal to 3, then we have to find out the factorial like this, 1 into 2 into 3, and we will get the answer as 6. Okay, so this 6 is the answer that will be stored to the variable f, and n is the value, that is input number, that will be stored to the variable n, and I is the incrementing variable like 1, 2, 3, like that we are incrementing. We are using a for loop with the incrementing variable, for that this variable I. Then in the public declaration, fact is a class name and fact is a constructor name here, and open flower bracket int m. So this is the parameterized constructor. So this int m is a formal argument which used to receive the value from the main program. Okay, so it will receive the value from the main program and it will be assigned to the variable n. And then there are two member functions we are used, that is process and display, that also declared inside the class and closing the class. So this is how we are defining the class. Then, now let us see the first member function, that is process. It is used to find the factorial of the number. So for that, for the answer variable, that is where we are storing the factorial of the number, that variable is f. So f should be assigned by 1. The first value of f will be 1. Then we are using the for loop I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. So this is already, this program we had done in the last year. So please see once again. First time f is equal to 1, Then I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n. N value already I said to you, we are giving n value as 3. So I less than or 1 less than or equal to 3 and 1 plus plus. So the next line is f is equal to f into I. F is already having the value 1 and 1 into I. The incrementing value I is having the first value as 1. So 1 into 1, f will get the value as 1 only. So for the next, now again I will increase to 1 plus 1 plus plus means I will increase to 2. Okay, so when I is increasing to 2, that time also f value is 1 only, and I is increased to 2, 2 less than or equal to 3 condition true, 2 plus plus. Again come to next line, that is next calculation statement. F is equal to f into I. F is having the value 1. 1 into I is having the value now 2. So 1 into 2, 2. Now f value is changed to 2. Okay. Then again 2 plus plus I is increasing to 3. So I equal to 3. 3 less than or equal to 3 condition true and 3 plus plus. Condition true. Again come to next statement. F is equal to f into I. F is already having the value now 2. 2 into I value is 3. That is 2 into 3, 6. Okay. So f will get the value as 6. Again I will increase to 4. So 4 less than or equal to 3 condition become false. By that this process function will execute and it will come out from the for loop, and 3 factorial will get the answer as 6. 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1, that is equal to 6. Okay. Then we are using the next member function, that is display function. Using that we are displaying the factorial value, that is the output variable is f, that we are displaying here. Then we are using the main program. In the main program we are going to use the copy constructor. Okay. So now see, fact f1 of 3. That means fact is the class name and f1 is the object name. Using this object one we are passing only one argument, that is the argument is 3. So this is the input value. So when we are passing this 3, this will be passed from main program to where it will reach? It will reach to this formal variable, that is m. That means the value of 3 will be reached to this place, and m will receive that value 3, and this value 3 will be assigned to the variable n. Okay, that means our input number is 3. So that means we are going to find the factorial of the number 3. Okay, that is what here we are writing the limit as 3. That means it will find up to 3 only, it will repeat the for loop. Then only we will get the answer as 6. So now again you can see the copy constructor, that is the object f1 we are copying to f2. That means whatever the value is given to f1, that will be copying to f2. Okay, then that is what, this is only copy constructor. Now see f1 dot process, that means this function will be called by using the first object f1. So f1 is having the value 3. So we will get the answer as the factorial equal to 6 using object 1. Let's see f1 dot display. This display function only will display this output. Okay. Again f2 dot process. So using the f2 object. Now see f2 object also having the value what? 3 only. Why means f1 is assigned to the object f2. That is why f2 object also having the value 3, and this 3 will be assigned to the input variable n. Okay, using this parameterized constructor function. So again f2 dot process means this will be calculating using the same n value, and we will find the answer as 6 only. Then f2 dot display means same function will be like, see, the factorial equal to x only will be printed. So this is how the copy constructor will be used in the program, that is copying an object to another object. Okay. Now let us see a next topic, that is constructor overloading. See, already have seen function overloading. Function overloading means what? Two or more functions can have same name but differ in number of arguments or data types of arguments. Same thing, constructor overloading means specifying additional meaning to it by passing the required arguments. A class can have two or more constructors with the same name but with different in their number of arguments or data types of arguments. That means a class can have two or more constructor member functions with the same name, but it will be having different number of arguments or data types of the arguments should be different. That is called constructor overloading. Now let us see the example program for constructor overloading. Constructor overloading means, you see, here we can use the constructor member function name more than one time. So here you can see, so this is one constructor member function. It used to initialize this value, and it is, there are no arguments are passed. That is why this is default constructor. And again, see, with the name interest, again we are declaring one more constructor member function, that is with arguments. That is why it is called parameterized constructor. Okay, so here in this program we can see two constructor member functions are there. That is why it is not constructor overloading. Now see, this program is to calculate the symbol interest. So we are declaring class name as interest, and private declaration we are declaring all the input values like float, p, t, r, and si is the output variable to store the answer. Okay, then in the public declaration, the first constructor function is interest and with no arguments. That is why it is known as default constructor, and it used to initialize the value for this symbol interest, this variable si. That variable will get the value as 0. Okay. Then the next constructor member function is parameterized constructor member function. This can receive the values from the void main program, and it will be assigned to this PTR, this three input variables. Okay. Then we have the display function, that is si equal to PTR by 100, that is a formula, and cout symbol interest, we are outputting the symbol interest, and closing display function, closing the class. So all these things we are writing inside the class. Okay. Now we are going to call the main program. So in the main program, using the class name interest, the first object will be called, like first object we are creating, that is object 1. So when you create the first object, which member function will be executed? First member function, first constructor member function will be executed. That is what this si will get the value as 0. That means this output variable will be initialized with 0 when you declare the first object. Okay. Then the next, again using the class name, we are declaring the next object, that is object 2, and here we are passing some arguments. I mean, the second constructor member function is having arguments. These 1000, 5, 2. These three arguments will be passed to this x, y, z, these three variables. Okay, and this x will be assigned to p, that is 1000 will be assigned to p, and y value, that is 5 will be assigned to t, and z value is 2 will be assigned to r. So all this p, t, r will get the values from the void main program with the help of parameterized constructor. Okay. Then clear screen and object 2 dot display. That means using the second object we are calling the display function. So this si equal to PTR. PTR is already got the values here, that will be calculated, and symbol interest will be displayed. Clear? So object 2 display function will display this answer and get ch. So this is how we are using the concept constructor overloading in the program. Clear? Now let us see the last part of this chapter, that is destructor. Destructors are the special member functions that can destroy an object automatically. In the beginning of the chapter, we have seen that the topic is constructor, that is, it used to initialize an object automatically. That means we can create an object automatically using the constructor member function. The object can be, what we have created, the object that can be destroyed using the other member function, that is called destructor. So see the syntax: class name, open floor bracket, private, and in the public declaration we are declaring the constructor like class name, and it is a constructor declaration. And again in the public declaration only we can declare another member function using this operator. This is known as tilde operator, tilde and class name. So this is called destructor member function, and close the floor bracket, semicolon. So this destructor member function also will be declared under the public declaration, and it is used to destroy an object automatically. Now you can see the example, class sum. Sum is a class name, open floor bracket, private, int a comma b comma s. These are the three data members, and in the public section we are declaring the constructor member function, open floor bracket, s equal to 0, close the floor bracket. So here in this constructor member function we are initializing the value of s as 0. Okay. Now using this tilde and the class name like sum, tilde and this sum, this is called destructor member function. So when you use this destructor member function in the program, what we have created using the constructor member function, that means s equal to 0, this initialization we have done using this constructor member function. So when you use this tilt and sum, this destructor member function in the program, so this constructor member function will be deleted. The value of this constructor member function will be deleted from the program. Okay, that means after the use of this initialization part, we can delete that object from the program using this destructor member function. Then close the class and semicolon. So this is the example for destructor member function. Like anyway, no need to write the program for this destructor member function. This is also very important for 5 marks. You have to write what is destructor member function, syntax, and this example part. And again you have to see one more important part is that is features of destructors. The destructor name is same as the class name. So already have seen that class name and destructor name should be same. Destructors are declared in public section of the program. That also you have seen, we are declaring under the public declaration. Then destructor is preceded by the symbol tilde. So before the destructor member function, you should use this operator tilde. Destructor never return a value. Like constructor only, destructor member function also won't return the value. Then destructor release memory space for further use. That is when you are deleting an object from the program, it will release the memory for the further program. Okay, so these are the features of destructors. So it's also very important question for 5 marks. By this we are finishing the chapter.